Okay, we should be streaming right now.
Welcome. My name is Jan Potzman. I'm the Assistant Director here in the Career Center. And we welcome you today to Internship Week and to this session about LinkedIn and how to create a great LinkedIn profile, as well as connect with recruiters. We're going to start by launching a poll. So if you could answer this question, what's your level of knowledge regarding LinkedIn? Okay, a few more folks. All right. I see a couple more folks. All right. Let's go ahead and end the poll and publish those statistics. What do we have there? So we don't have any experts in the room, but we do have some folks with some knowledge. So we are going to go ahead and move ahead. I would like to I would like to introduce you to Ryan. You give me just a moment here. Let me take down the poll here. Okay, so I want to introduce you to Ryan. He's really the expert in LinkedIn and a great speaker. So we're so looking forward to him sharing his knowledge with us today. And he really invites questions. So please go ahead and post your questions all along the way in the chat. You're not able to ask them live because we are recording today and we're live streaming this event. So Ryan Zarvokis is a Southern California native and attended the University of Southern California with a Navy scholarship as part of the NROTC program. After graduating with a business degree, he was commissioned in the U.S. Navy's flight program. Ryan settled back in Southern California in 2009, working in the e-learning industry. LinkedIn came along almost 8 years ago, and it fits perfectly with his passion for learning, allowing him to live out the LinkedIn ethos: dream big, have fun, and get stuff done. Now, working specifically with California colleges and universities, it is his mission to make sure every student knows how and why to use LinkedIn to create their professional brand. Welcome to Ryan Zarvakis. Zarvakis. I'm sorry, I'm not butchering your name.
Either way works for me. I have no problem with that. You can call me whatever you want, Jan. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the invite. And I'm really excited to be here today with you all. As Jan mentioned, I've been with LinkedIn now. Actually, I just eclipsed 8 years. So I've now been with LinkedIn for 8 years. My role is a sales role. I sell a product called LinkedIn Learning and our hiring solutions. You all happen to be my client. So hopefully you all have heard of LinkedIn Learning and are using it. I might touch upon that just for a second here because I've got an audience and I really want you all to know about LinkedIn Learning because it will help you get a job. Today, what we're going to do is we're going to cover basically 5 topics real quick. The first thing we're going to cover is why you should be on LinkedIn. I think it's important to start there because I'm biased. I work for LinkedIn. Of course, I'm going to tell you to be on LinkedIn. So what I want to do is I want to give you information that's going to help you make that decision for yourself. The second thing we're going to talk about is the LinkedIn profile. And I'm going to go into LinkedIn. I'm going to show you LinkedIn profiles of other students that have given me permission to share their profiles with other people and showcase their profiles. So I'm going to share those profiles of those students so you can get an idea of how they craft their message so you can take a look at your profile. The third thing we're going to talk about is growing your network and how to grow your network. It's super important to do that in order to get a job. The fourth thing we'll talk about is content and putting content on LinkedIn. And lastly, I do want to cover for just a few minutes LinkedIn Learning, because every CSUN student has access to LinkedIn Learning, and it's a valuable resource. So most of you may not have heard of it, or some of you may not have heard of it and may not be using it. So really think it might help you get where you want to go in your career. So let's start with why you should be on LinkedIn. I want to ask some questions here, so I'd love for you all to just drop in the chat the answer to this. This is a guessing game, but can anybody guess how LinkedIn earns revenue? Does anybody want to drop that in the chat and tell me how they think LinkedIn makes money? What do you think we do to make money? Cynthia, advertising. Thank you for that. That is a very good guess. Premium, Arfan. Those are the two most popular guesses. And advertisements, we do make a lot of money on advertising, but it is not our biggest business line. And premium, you might be surprised, is our smallest business line. Arfan, job postings is part of our hiring, and that is correct. That is our most profitable, or not profitable. The business we do the most money, the most revenue, is our hiring solutions. So we charge corporate America to find you on LinkedIn. That's what we do. Our biggest revenue source is helping people find jobs. It's not advertising. We're different than a lot of other social media companies. I love how y'all keep posting in here signups. We don't charge for signups. So you don't need premium. I'm here to tell you right now, you don't need premium. I actually don't recommend premium. So we charge corporate America to find you. Our business model is based on more than just ads. So most social media companies, when you think of TikTok, IG, Facebook, whatever, Twitter, they're all mainly generating ad revenue, right? That's how they make their money. 98% of Facebook is advertisements. That's not how LinkedIn is. So we have these other product lines that we sell to companies. LinkedIn Learning is one of them. Our hiring solution, our sales solution, marketing, and premium. Our goal is something different than those other platforms. Our goal is to try to help you get a job. That's what LinkedIn's goal is. So the second question I have for you all is, when I talk about this hiring product that we sell it to businesses and governments and colleges and universities. So any business can use LinkedIn to find you. So when you have a recruiter reaching out to you on LinkedIn, they're paying us to find you. What do you think our market share is of Fortune 500 companies? Meaning, what percentage of Fortune 500 companies are paying LinkedIn to find you? What do you think that answer is? Anybody want to guess? 80%. It's a really good guess, but it's low. Anybody else want to guess? Anna, 60. No, it's higher than 60. It's higher than 80. Orlena, 95 is very close. And Kalia, you're really close too. It is 97%. 97% of Fortune 500 companies are using LinkedIn to hire people. That's one of the tools they use to hire people. About 90% of corporate recruiters are using LinkedIn in one way or another to find talent. We have over 90% of working age Californians on LinkedIn.com now with profiles. So what this means for everybody that's on this call right now, and anybody that might be watching, is that if you're applying for a job today in corporate America, the probability that they're going to look at your LinkedIn profile before you ever get interviewed is 100%. Someone is going to look at your LinkedIn profile for sure. So again, this leads to the question, like, why should you be on LinkedIn? Well, I just mentioned with data that somebody's going to look at your LinkedIn profile before you get hired or before you get interviewed, and for sure before you get hired. So what does that mean to you, and why is it different, right? And why are we so popular? Well, it's because we do something different than the resume. The resume is designed to do one thing. It's designed to weed out talent. It's designed to say, okay, does Kelly have the right background? Does she have the right skills? Yes, she goes into this pile. Does Ryan have the right skills? No, he goes into this pile. A resume is designed to weed people out. Does the candidate have the minimum qualifications? What is the last question I'm going to ask you for a little bit is, what do you think is the most popular first interview question? Does anybody know what the most popular first interview question is? Anyone want to guess? Yes, Elizabeth, nailed it. Tell me about yourself. Exactly right. Tell me about yourself. Leo, what do you want to work here? Why? That's a very common, very, very common question. It's usually a follow-up. So the research we've done the research shows that tell me about yourself is the very first question, the most popular first question. And the reason for that is pretty simple. People want to know who they're going to work with. All right. So we're still talking about why you should be on LinkedIn. I'm gonna share my screen in a second or two and show you LinkedIn profiles, and we're gonna kind of get after it here in a second or two. But the bottom line is that, when you think about the resume, when you think about trying to grow your network, LinkedIn is a differentiator because it allows you to have a voice. It allows you to be more than just your resume, because your resume doesn't tell the whole story. Would you agree? Like, there's no way a resume can tell your whole story. I'm sure many of you watched the Super Bowl, and many of you have heard the story of Brock Purdy, the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers. And the story with him, why it's so compelling, is because he was the very, very last pick of the NFL draft a couple years ago. The very last pick, which is normally called Mr. Irrelevant, because never has anyone ever been as successful as he's been from that position. And the reason I bring it up is because everybody wants to pick the number one pick, and they normally base it on their qualifications. Like, these guys have the best skills, and that doesn't always guarantee the best person. What can really make the difference for you all is your personality, your work ethic, your dedication, your grit, your determination, your resiliency, whatever you want to say. Those are the things that can separate you. If you're working your way through college, that means you have a lot of determination, right? If you're a first-gen student, you're underrepresented, or you're a former athlete, or you're a musician, or you're, a concert pianist, whatever it is, a dancer, all of these things that you do, even outside of work, they make up who you are as a person. And so today, what I want you to know is that you can tell that story on LinkedIn. You can elaborate on your personality on LinkedIn. So you can answer that first question, tell me about yourself. That is what you can do on LinkedIn. So the rhetorical question I have for you is, would you rather, when somebody is going to look at your profile on LinkedIn, see the resume version of you or the real version of you that includes your work experience? Well, I would think you'd want to have the non-resume version of you, the real version of you, which includes your work experience. And if you do that on your LinkedIn profile, it changes the game. It changes everything, because it now gives you a voice. Now you're the real person. Now you're not just a sum of your life, your work experiences. You're some of your life and work experiences. So let's jump into it now. Let me show you some LinkedIn profiles, and we're gonna go from there. All right. So the first profile I want to share with you is Tammy. And so so you can see her profile picture right here. You really need a nice profile picture. It does not have to be a professional photo. Okay. We all have really nice camera equipment in our hands with our phones. Just put it on portrait mode, take a picture, and you're good to go. All right. And you want to this is a perfect profile picture because it's just a headshot. You just want a headshot. Oops. Now let's go into the actual profile. Background photo is super important. If you are like me and you're not super creative, click on your profile, click on view profile, click on the pencil icon, and then you can actually change the background photo, and you can scroll through a list of all of our digital images here for your background photo. Any one of these would work. You can show that you are, you want an ID for self-equity here. You can show you're an ally to the disabled community, celebrate Latino voices, the Stop Asian Hate movement, Black Lives Matter movement, and LGBTQ. Any one of those would suffice, or you can add your own custom photo like Tammy did over here. The next thing you want to do is you want to have a little bit more, I want a little bit more conversational headline. I would love your headline to be a little bit more aspirational. Once you graduate, your headline can change, but before you graduate, I want it to be a little bit more aspirational. I'll show you a couple of those in a second. But let's take a look at the most important section, in my opinion. It is the about section right here. So I'm going to zoom in because we're on Zoom, and actually I pretty zoomed in. And we'll read through it. So here, Tammy says, Harry Potter taught me English when I first immigrated to the Bay Area. She says, as a passionate learner, I jumped straight into teaching myself English and became obsessed with the way stories are told and how they connect people from all backgrounds. She goes on to say, I want to connect individuals to something bigger than themselves, the way Harry Potter colored my world with magic and taught me the basis I need to achieve the American dream. Now, when I first met Tammy, she wanted to work for a Hollywood studio doing marketing, and that is a very popular job. A lot of people want to do that. So what we talked about was what separates her, what makes her different than every other student that wants to do that. And then she talked about her childhood and being an immigrant and learning English and movies teaching her English and how that changed her life. And so she articulated that story on LinkedIn. And what I want you to know is that she actually did end up getting that dream job right out of college, working for Disney, doing media, marketing. And after the interview, when she got the job, I met her for a cup of coffee about a year ago, and she told me that a couple of people mentioned how much they loved her LinkedIn profile. And here's what I want y'all to know, right? What the LinkedIn profile allows you to do is to differentiate yourself, to be different than every other person out there, and to be able to be yourself and be honest and be authentic. You can't really do that on a resume. You can't tell a story on a resume. It's against the rules to put your picture on a resume. It's against the rules to tell a story. It has to be very short and sweet. And so what LinkedIn allows you to do is to be yourself and to see if other people resonate with your true self and align with those values. And you can see that, well, that Disney did. And she's an amazing young person and she's doing really well at Disney. And she got that opportunity in no small part because she put herself out there on LinkedIn, right? All the hard work that you're doing, I want you all to be able to take advantage of all the hard work you're doing. And LinkedIn helps you take advantage of that hard work. Let's take a look at another one. This is Sarah. And she tells a different story. She says, around my neck on a thin red cord, a tiny jade lock key was placed by my biological parents in China. She talks about what the necklace symbolizes for her and what she wants to do for others. And then she says, my positive upbeat attitude derives from the gift I was given when I was adopted at the age of 2.5 years old. And then her first job out of college is Google. She got a job with Google out of college. So they obviously didn't mind that she talked about being adopted, right? No problem there. Let's go to Bridget. Bridget is a student I met when she was going to Cal State Long Beach. And her background photo is great. I love this background photo. It's an iPad and with a quote from Uncle Iroh. It's time to look inward and start asking yourself the big question, who are you and what do you want? Little subtlety there because she's a Airbender fan, the last Airbender fan. And then if we look at her about section, she talks about she starts with a quote, which I love, right? It's a great way to start the about section. Complacency is a continuous struggle we all have to fight. And then she talks about overcoming that complacency and doing what she wants to do in her career. So again, storytelling about where she was, where she is now, where she wants to go, things like that. She also uses the about section here very well, the featured section, I'm sorry, very well. The featured section allows you to embed digital media. So before Tammy got hired, the first profile I showed you, before she got hired out of college, she actually had all of her, or many of her marketing portfolio projects on LinkedIn. Think about that. You can upload a video of yourself, or if you're an editor, a video editor, a videographer, you can upload that onto LinkedIn and showcase your work. You could do what Bridget did here and upload your resume, and you could link to posts that you've done on LinkedIn. This is super like underutilized, and it's free. Free. I'm sorry, it's not part of premium. One other thing I want to show you that might resonate with you all here is that Bridget used LinkedIn Learning to help her get a job. So at Cal State Long Beach, like CSUN, they have access to LinkedIn Learning too. And I met her when she was a little bit further along in her career. She was a senior, and she told me about why she decided to take these courses outside of her degree. And what happened is that she realized late into her degree that she didn't really love healthcare administration. she was like, this is really not going to be for me. She really wanted to go into HR and really wanted to go into recruiting specifically for tech companies. Like that was her goal. So she went on to LinkedIn Learning and look at these courses that she took when she was in college, right? Strategic human resources, HR as a business partner, HR and digital transformation. She took those courses on LinkedIn Learning. And let me just show you this small company you might have heard of. Google hired her as a recruiting coordinator right out of college. It's not a coincidence, right, that she got hired because she took this additional content. And what I love by this is that you can study what you want to study. That's what I love about this is like you can study what you want to study and yet learn what you want to learn with LinkedIn Learning to bridge that skills gap. That's really the difference maker when it comes to LinkedIn Learning and the LinkedIn profile. So I'm going to stop there for 1 second and I'm going to open it up to see if anybody has any questions about what I've covered so far. Any questions about what I've covered so far? And you can just drop it in the chat, by the way, if you have any questions. All right. It doesn't look like we have any questions. And if you do, as I'm droning on, just drop them in the chat. You don't have to wait. Oh, wait, I have one. What about those who prefer their anonymity? Okay. This is a great question. We can go into the fact of the next thing I'm going to talk about is growing your network, and you can grow your network. But here's the deal, right? People want to know who they're working with now. And so I understand that you want to have your anonymity. And if you want to just upload your resume, and you want to have your LinkedIn profile as sparse as possible, that's cool. But the question I have for you is, why wouldn't you want to be able to craft your profile the way you want people to think about you instead of the way that the resume forces you to be thought of? That's all I want you to think about. Like, this is your platform and you get to speak your truth. If you don't want to talk about, what happened to you as in your childhood, don't talk about it. No big deal. You can talk about what you want to talk about. So I'm just giving you ideas, but what I want you to understand is that if you don't have a profile, you're hindering your opportunity to get a job because people want to know who they're working with. So I get you want to maintain some anonymity, but I want you to balance it with where you want to go in your career. All right. Yeah, and you're welcome. Again, I understand if you're not into social media. I just want you to know one thing. Again, I work for the company, so I'm biased, but no other social media platform is designed to try to help you make money and get a job. Okay. LinkedIn is not fun time social media. It's not. And it's not meant for you to be in front of for hours and hours a day. If you are on LinkedIn for 10 to 15 minutes a day, you're doing more than 95% of people. So it is way, way, way different. So I don't think you should be lumping us into the category of TikTok. Ain't the same. LinkedIn is designed to help you get a job. And if you don't want to be on LinkedIn, that's totally you can do that. I'm just telling you, that's where people are going to go. So you get to make the choice if you want people to see you or not. For LinkedIn Learning, where do we go? Oh, thanks, Jasmine, for that. You teed me up. You teed me up real quick. So I'm going to go to Google and I'm going to do CSUN LinkedIn Learning. I don't know how to spell. And then you can go over here to this link, click on link, activate link, boom, go to LinkedIn Learning. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop this in the chat so all of you can have it. All of you can have access to it. Okay. Other question. I want to know why you don't recommend premium. Okay, good question. There's a reason why I don't recommend premium, and it's because it's expensive. That's why I don't recommend premium. It's really expensive. And by the way, so you pay for premium, it's like $60 a month, and half of that cost is so you get LinkedIn Learning. Well, you get LinkedIn Learning for free. You don't have to pay for it. CSUN's paying for it for you. So therefore, half of premium isn't worth it. There are some new features of Premium that are pretty cool, and if you want to get it, they're helpful. Like there's AI features in Premium that you don't have in regular Premium, and you can see who's looking at your profile, and there are more insights. So there are some cool things to Premium, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be telling you to pay for anything. I want you to be able to use LinkedIn for free, and everything I show you is free. Um, that's why I don't really talk about Premium, but there are a couple of different options for Premium, and I think it starts at $60 a month. Okay. And again, LinkedIn Learning, by the way, is free. So CSUN, this is paid for by the school. And so you get access to it complimentary, and it saves you $30 a month. Okay, let's go to the second thing I want to talk about, which is growing your network. So I'm going to go to the CSUN school page. So if we go to the CSUN school, oh man, I have to type it out. California State University, Northridge. Fun fact, I used to live about 4 miles from your camp, not even 4 miles, like 3 miles. I used to live in Northridge, and I was there during the Northridge earthquake. Fun fact. That makes me feel really old. Okay, Jan did mention, thank you, Jan, for mentioning that out. When you sign up for LinkedIn Learning for the first time, it'll ask you if you want to connect your personal LinkedIn profile. I highly recommend that you do, because when you connect your LinkedIn profile to LinkedIn Learning, then you can actually click on this little widget, which will be up here, and it'll take you directly to LinkedIn Learning, which I will show you in a few minutes. Yeah. Okay. So why are we on this Cal State Northridge, the CSUN homepage? Well, it's because of this tab right here. This alumni tab is part of the free version of LinkedIn. You don't have to be premium. And what this does is it shows you every single person that is on LinkedIn that says that they've gone to CSUN. Kalia, thank you so much for the shout out in the chat. I appreciate that with LinkedIn Learning. That is very cool. So what can we do with this data? What can we do with this information here? Well, we show you where all of these alumni work, like what company they work for. We show you where they're living in the country. We show you what they do for a living, and we show you what skills they have. Now, let's dive deep into this on the fly. So somebody in the chat, tell me a company they would love to work for that's not on this list. I want to see if we can find any alumni that are working for a company that's of interest to you that's not on this list. That's not like Kaiser or Disney or NBC, Universal, anybody, Autodesk, LinkedIn are fun. I like it. Let's do Autodesk. JP Morgan, they're going to be definitely, I've never even heard of Autodesk. Drum roll, please. How many people? How many people? 13 people. Yes, right? 13 people. So what do we know these people do? They're in sales, they're in IT, product management, and so on. Now, these people have not given me permission to share their profile, so I can't really go into sharing their profile, but I can show you their picture. And basically what you would do is you'd click on their name, and then you would send a message to them, send a connection request. You're like, hey, this is what I would say. If I'm sending a message to a person I don't know, I would say, I am a current CSUN student, and then I would tell them why I'm reaching out. I've always wanted to work at Autodesk. Do you have 5 minutes for an informational interview? That's it, right? Or, just reaching out, I'm a current student and I'm trying to grow my network with people like you. Let's see, Insomniac. Carla put Insomniac. We have one person that's in Insomniac. This is going to be a good one. So I'm going to show you what else we can do here, Carla, for a company that doesn't have a lot of people that are working there, right? If we come over here to JP Morgan, let's see how many people working at JP Morgan. What do we have? What do we have? What do we have? 213. That's a lot. That's a lot, right? And so you can come over here, and if you want to go into finance, boom, you got 104 people in finance that are working at JP Morgan. And then you can narrow it down even more, and you can be like, look, I want to meet up with people that are living in LA, right? And then you can message them. You scroll down here and you click on their profile, and then you message them, connection request. This is a gold mine. This is absolutely free, not a part of premium, and it is a way for you to grow your network. When you have a first degree connection, at the job at which you apply, you are much, much, much more likely to get hired at that job. It is not even close. If you are like, when I was your age, I was a first generation student. My mom is an immigrant from Colombia. My dad, it didn't even graduate high school. I didn't have money. The way I went to USC was the Navy. I joined the Navy so they could pay my way. And my parents couldn't help me get a job. All right. And I know a lot of you are in the same boat where your parents cannot help you get a job. So you have to do it on your own. And this is a way for you to do it on your own. This is a way for you to go and do outreach. Again, I should say again, when you apply for a job, whether it's on Indeed or on through Handshake or any platform, when you apply, you have to do this. It's a necessary requirement, but it's like a needle in a haystack. You're applying and there are a ton of other people applying and you're just really hoping that somebody responds to you. You have to do that. That's part of the process of getting a job. But this platform allows you to do outreach. It allows you to have agency. It allows you to go and try to meet people so that those people can help you get a job. In my career, I've only had 2 jobs in my life where somebody didn't help me get the job. And one of those jobs was the military. That doesn't count. All right. Most times you need somebody helping you get that job. And if you don't have a big network, you can use LinkedIn to grow your network and have people work with you and coach you and help you get to the next level. And trust me, there are a lot of people that can do it. Now, when you do outreach to somebody and you click on their profile down here, you click on their profile and you connect with them, what is the worst thing that can happen? Drop it in the chat. Tell me, what do you think is the worst thing that can happen if you try to message somebody or you try to connect with somebody? No response. Exactly. That is exactly right. I don't even think they say no. Who says no anymore? They just ghost you. That's all they do is they ghost you. That is the absolute worst thing that can happen. But I'm going to share you a story. I'm going to show you a success story with another student who went to San Diego State who wasn't afraid to ask. And I'm going to show you what happened. But before I do that, I want to, because Carly, you put this in the chat, I'm going to go over here to Insomniac Games. Okay. And Insomniac Games is a company. It's on LinkedIn. And so they have a lot of information on LinkedIn. What kind of information do they have? Well, we tell you everybody that works at that company. So there are 519 people that work at that company, and you can see where they live. So if you wanted to meet up with them, because they're in Burbank, which is close to Northridge, boom, click on here, and there are 70 people that are close to you. And then you can, let's say you want to get an engineering, art and design, or HR, whatever it is, you can narrow it down, message them and say, hey, do you have time for a coffee chat? I'll buy you a cup of coffee. Free. Again, this is part of LinkedIn, not part of premium. If I were you, I would follow this company if they're doing posts on LinkedIn. So they posted this. It looks like they're not posting very often. So they're not quite as prevalent on LinkedIn, but dude, if they post, you can comment and like on here. Super easy to do. They don't have another tab here. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to pull, let's see, JP Morgan. Let's do this one. So let's do JP Morgan and look at their page because they probably have an additional feature. So this life tab right here, that's an extra feature that companies pay for. And the reason why they pay for this is so they want you as a student or as anybody who's interested in working at that company, students and grads, to know what life is like at JP Morgan or at that specific company. Now, here's why this is important to you. Not only can you get a better idea of what it's like to work there, if you scroll down, here's a brand new feature. This has only been out for a few months. You can click, I'm interested in working at JP Morgan. Guess what? That means that when they're using this tool over here that they're paying for, the first people that pop up, or they can select people that are interested in working for that company. So you could be at the top of the list. You basically raise your hand and say, I want to work for you. How cool is that? This is free. So any company, you go on LinkedIn now, you can say, I'm interested in working for you. Any questions about growing your network before we go on to the next thing that I want to talk about? All right, perfect. Now, let's talk about posting content. All right. Posting content is super important. When you post content, it gives you, it helps building your brand. And it helps people, it helps you spread your message and it helps you gain a following and it just helps you in any way to get a job. It just really helps get a job. And so there are a couple of things that you can do. The first thing is you go onto LinkedIn and in the middle of your feed, click on Start a Post. Now, when you want to share your thoughts, there are a couple of things that you can do here. You can click on that plus. You can add media. So if you wanted to record a video, you could do that. If you are, a graphic designer or artist, or you are an editor, you can upload that video. You can also record video of yourself, just giving your own thought leadership, meaning, or you could just be asking for assistance. I think it would be, great to put a video up there saying that, hey, this is who I am, this is where I'm going, this is what I'd like to do, and anybody out there can help me, I would appreciate it. So you can do that here. You can celebrate an occasion. You can actually create a poll and put it on LinkedIn. Here's a new feature to add a document. So you can add a Word document or Excel, PowerPoint. You can add your spreadsheet. You can add your resume to LinkedIn if you wanted to. And this is relatively new as well, finding an expert. So if you click on this and you click on the category, let's say coaching and mentoring, you can say, look, I'm coaching and mentoring and I'm about to do an interview. You can put this on LinkedIn, say I'm looking for a professional, and post that up on LinkedIn. That is, again, not part of premium. You just click on the little plus icon and you're good to go. But let's say you read an interesting article. So let's go to the LA Times, and we're going to pull the LA Times URL over here, and I'm going to put it here in LinkedIn. And what it does is it's going to pull the thumbnail image for that article. And so I'm pretty sure all of you on campus are reading interesting content and interesting articles for what you're doing in college right now. This is a great way to showcase or to be a thought leader and to give people information that may be able to help them. And then you can delete the URL and you'll be like, I just read this. And then you can tag whoever you want to. So let's say you want to tag, I'm going to introduce you to Ariana here in a second. So you can tag Ariana and you can delete her last name. It still goes to her. You all know how to do this. You can hashtag like news of the day, right? You all know how to do this. We only recommend 3 to 5 hashtags. It's not necessary. It's not nearly as important as it used to be. The tagging people is definitely important because more people are going to see your post when you tag them. But this is it. This is what you can do, and posting content makes a huge difference. It makes a huge difference. So let me show you an example of a post, what I'm talking about. So let me go over here to Evelyn. And I met her when she was at school as well. And so we'll show you some of these older posts because she's now out of college, but I want to show you a post she did when she was in school. Was this one. She just did a post about her internship. And so she just wanted to thank everybody for the internship. Here she tags the company she worked for. Here she actually tags the people that she worked with, her colleagues. And then if you take a selfie, when you write, this is called writing copy. When you write copy and then you attach a selfie, you get about 5 times more views. So she got 199, approximately 200 reactions, and this reached about 15,000 people. Again, not every post is going to be this popular. It's not necessarily about that. Evelyn did a lot of posts that were not meant to reach a ton of people. They were just meant to showcase like things that she was working on or things that she was reading, so that you just build a brand presence and awareness on LinkedIn. Yeah, the question is, why is being brand and branding increasingly prevalent? This is a great question. And the reason why it is increasingly prevalent, because the idea of brand and branding, by the way, there's a great course on LinkedIn Learning, not so subtle hint there that LinkedIn Learning, about branding and why it's important. When you think of brand, corporations spend a ton of money to put a logo on the screen so that you understand what you get when you decide to buy that product, right? There's a lot that goes into branding. It's the same thing with you personally and professionally. What do you bring to the table in addition to your skill set when you get hired? For example, are you a team player? Are you a hard worker? Are you a positive person? Are you motivated? So at LinkedIn, we have these three central tenets of who we want to hire. Do they dream big? Do they have fun? And do they get stuff done? That's what we try to do at LinkedIn. So branding is really important because people want to work. Basically, here's my thing. I don't think you can teach people to be resilient. They teach that you teach on your that you learn through life experience. I don't think you can teach people to be hard workers. That's something you teach yourself and you learn and you grow with yourself. That is part of your brand. All right. There's nothing about being an entrepreneur or influencer has nothing to do with branding that way. What this does is, here's a good example. Anybody can say they're a hard worker. I'm a hard worker. I can put that on my LinkedIn profile. I'm a hard worker. Who cares? I want you to show it. When you're in an interview, they're not going to say, "Are you a hard worker?" They're going to say, "Tell me a time when. Tell me a time when you did this." And that's what branding is. Branding is going deeper than a resume can ever do to showcase who you are and what you bring to the table. And that's why LinkedIn is powerful. And that's why posting content is a really easy way for you to show people that you're a hard worker and show people that you're engaged because you're reading content and you think somebody else might like it. It takes you 2 seconds to put it on LinkedIn and say, here's why I read this. By the way, you never know when the information you're learning on campus could help somebody else. I've been out of school for a very long time. Very long time. You all are in school now. You might learn a sales technique that's really important. I read this today in my sales class. I thought I'd share it. You're not trying to be an influencer. You're trying to share thought leadership. And that's the difference. It's called thought leadership. Yeah. Um, Stefan or Stephen, can you post something about yourself that aren't directly to career? Okay. This is where I don't know that you want to post stuff that doesn't relate to your career or what you're trying to accomplish. Now, there are things if you want to have more personality. Like in my opinion, what I would do is maybe post that on your profile. So like my brother on his profile talked about learning to play the guitar, like Stevie Ray Vaughan or John Mayer, right? So I think you can be more personal there, but you want to be careful about what you post on the feed. I think on the feed, you want it to be a little bit more aligned towards your career. But people are definitely getting a little bit more personal on their feed as well. Here's the beauty of it. You get to post what you want to post. I know you're not going to post anything inappropriate. You might post something that's a little bit more casual, but that's okay. Not a big deal. Okay. So we talked about posting content. Now, really quickly, I want to introduce you to Ariana. So this is Ariana, and I can't spell her name properly. I met her when she was going to San Diego State. She is a first-gen student and worked her way through college. And so one of the things, like she's changed her profile a lot since she graduated because that's what people do. But I want to tell you how she used LinkedIn to land this job at Super Purposes. So this was an internship that she got a few years ago. And what she did is she clicked on jobs and she found the job on LinkedIn and she did the apply button. And then after she applied, she went to their homepage here, went to the people tab, and she found the CEO. And there are not two of them, there's only one. And so she clicked on the CEO down here. You all can find the CEO. And then she did a direct message. And in the message, she said, "Hi, my name is Ariana. I'm a current student. I just applied for an internship and I would love an opportunity to interview." And the CEO, what happens when you do outreach? What happens when somebody messages you or somebody tries to connect with you or follow you on social and you don't know them? The first thing that you do is you probably look at their profile. And when you look at their profile, you want to see what kind of personality they have and who they are, right? And so that's what you get to do. You get to do here, you get to showcase your personality, right? That's what you get to do because nobody wants to work with people they don't like. And that's just the fact. I know that you may want to just go to work and just do a job, but people want to work with people who are cooperative, who enjoy the job, who vibe with one another. And so that's what this is about. It's about showcasing your personality because we aren't robots. We want to work with other people we like to work with. and we want to work with other people who are fun and engaging. And that's what you get to do on LinkedIn. And you have a choice. You can either do that or not do that. But this is what Ariana did. Showcased her personality, talked about working her way through college, talked about her their profile. For that job, and she gets that interview if she just uploads her resume and calls it a day. It's not happening. So this is what you all get to do. And the beauty of this, everybody on this call and everybody that's watching this, is you get to choose what you put out there. Nobody's forcing you to do it. It is your choice. But what I can tell you is I've been doing this for 8 years. I've done hundreds and hundreds of these workshops. I've talked to thousands and thousands of you. I've connected with over 8,000 of you. And the students that follow these practical tips I'm giving you, they have more success than those that don't. That's just a fact. So this is why I do these workshops, because I love talking to you all. And as a first-gen student myself, I remember how hard it was back in the day, and it's even harder now. All right. So any other questions before I move on to LinkedIn Learning real quickly? Any other questions? All right, let's see here. Okay. Okay. LinkedIn Learning. So what I want to talk about LinkedIn Learning real quickly for the last few minutes, I want to show you that this is what the LinkedIn Learning user interface looks like when you log in. So the beauty of LinkedIn Learning is when you connect it to your LinkedIn profile, you actually then it's going to start not showcasing, it's going to start pulling a little bit of information that's public to everybody to help our engine push content that's going to be relevant to you. All right. So that's what LinkedIn Learning is about. And it's here to bridge a skills gap. So let's say you log into LinkedIn Learning and you're like, I'm interested in being well, for example, human resources. You want to be a recruiter or you want to be a marketing specialist. We actually have tons of content that can help you get there. And it's really easy content. It's really easily consumable. It's just video content. If you're in IT, if you're on the phone and you're in IT, we have coding practice. We have tons of IT content that's going to help you get that job. So just like what Bridget did, it's like, I want this job over here. You can go onto LinkedIn, or you can go onto Indeed, or you can go onto any jobs board. And the job is probably going to tell you, here are the skills you need. And if you don't have that skill or you want to brush up on that skill, you come to LinkedIn Learning and you can learn that skill. So that is what LinkedIn Learning can do. It can literally help you get a job because it teaches you what you didn't already know, or it solidifies that knowledge so that when you do apply for that job, you can actually confidently answer any of those questions that they may have. Real quickly, I got another question in the chat. What are key things you would recommend undergrads put on their profiles? Okay, so we'll go back to the profile feed over here, the feed. So we start at the top, background photo, headline, about section. Those are super, super important. Your experience section, go into your experience section. Actually, I jumped over this real quickly. Let me go back here. I'm going to just go over here to Chelsea real quickly. Because Elizabeth, thank you for asking this question. Within the experience section, I do think you can talk a little bit more as well. So you can share more of your stories. The summary section is no longer called the summary section. That is called the about section. Good question. I probably should have told you that. We used to call this summary. It's now called the about section. And I did go over that at the very beginning. I actually went over that for a few minutes. So I kind of stay on that for a little bit too long. But the experience section allows you to also tell more of a story, especially for students when you have an internship or you have a job as a barista or a server. Most people know what that does. So with this experience section, you can actually articulate more of your value proposition, more of what you loved about doing the job, why you did the job, and that is going to help you get a job. Again, okay, real quickly, why this is important. A couple of things. Number one, it gets back to this brand idea and saying you're a hard worker. If you upload your resume, not hard work. Sorry. If you just upload your resume, anybody can do that. That's not hard. What's hard is to take 2 or 3 hours and figure out what you want to say to people and articulate that. What's hard is to take a look at your profile or take a look at your job and go, why did I work there? Why did I work in there? What did I do? So that's what LinkedIn is about, right? It gives you the opportunity to put yourself out there in a way so people can they don't have to guess whether or not you're a hard worker. They know that Chelsea is a hard worker here. Here's the other thing that's important. The more information you put in your LinkedIn profile, the more words you type, the more likely you're going to be found by a recruiter. That's just a fact too. So it's a total positive when you put yourself out here on LinkedIn in a way that people can understand who you are. So this is important for you to do as well, Elizabeth, is elaborate on the experience section. And then you should add your education, any licenses and certifications. These would be the LinkedIn Learning things. You can add those there, and then skills as well. Recommendations are also great as well. So basically recommendations, skills, licenses and certifications, your experience needs to be there. And then in the featured section, I talked about that as well. Real quickly, it's you can complete LinkedIn Learning training through your school and get certificate displayed on your personal profile. Yes. So the question was, can I complete LinkedIn Learning and display it on my personal profile? When you log into LinkedIn Learning the first time, it's going to ask you if you want to connect your personal LinkedIn profile. Even though CSUN is paying for LinkedIn Learning, your LinkedIn personal account can connect, and that is free. And yes, when you connect the two, you can display any of the work that you've done on LinkedIn Learning on your profile for free. How should I handle career change in my profile? So this is what I would do in the about section if I were you. I would talk about that pivot, that career pivot, and why you switched and how your skills are transferable. Again, this is a way that these are things you can't do on a resume. That's what, if I'm you and I'm in a career transition, I'm not 19 years old, I'm not 20 or 21, just going into my career, I'm switching. I would be using the about section to showcase why you're switching and what basically frame it in the most positive way so that you get that out of the way when people read your profile. That's what I would do if I were you.
Okay,
Jan, I
Ryan.
noticed you hopped on. Go ahead.
Yeah, I did. We have a few more minutes, but I'd like to launch the second poll. And so if you allow me to do that, we will get some responses from our folks here, our students. And wow, people have learned, certainly. That's exciting to see. And then we can go back to answering questions. I just wanted to capture this data first.
Cool. So there was a really good question about alumni. So alumni doesn't have access to LinkedIn Learning because CSUN's paying for it. They can't pay for all alumni. You do have access to LinkedIn Learning for, I think, as long as you have single sign-on access, which is, I think, 6 months after you graduate. So you'll be able to use LinkedIn Learning through that time. Yeah. Any other questions?
And folks, go ahead, bring in the questions, but we have a few more folks. If you could fill out the survey for us, the poll here, that would be great.
Yeah. Any other questions, anybody? Thank you all. I appreciate that. Sorry, where is the about section located? Let me just jump in here real quickly and share that. Boom. So the about section is right here. Boom, in the about section. When you log into LinkedIn the first time, you can add profile and it will be actually you can't the about section is a core section, so it's there 100% of the time. So I don't even think it's here. Add career break, add skills. Yeah, I think it's just there. You have to fill out the about section. You have to put something in there. So it's right there. Anybody else? Thank you for the kind feedback. Does the number of connections you have matter? Yes, the number of connections you have does matter. Remember, Okay. Back in the day, it was really good to have like, shake people's hand and have them help you. But I can only shake so many people's hand. If I have 500 first degree connections, 500 people that are first degree, and each one of those has 500 in their network, that means I have 250,000 people that are I'm 1 degree connection away from. The more people that you're connected to, the more likely your content, your profile is going to be seen, your content's going to be seen, you're going to get a job offer. So yes, 100%. Jan, there was a question about verification for attendance of the class in the chat.
Yeah, I'm looking to see what I'm there. Where we go. Hang on a second. You know what I would recommend is take a screenshot. Take a
Yeah.
screenshot, and then that way you have a copy of this, and that would be the best way I would recommend doing it.
Yeah, I mean, everybody, I got a couple questions about creating a profile as a beginner. I mean, this was everything I talked about was creating a profile as a beginner. Everyone has a story to tell. And that's why I think reframing it and not thinking of it as a resume is easier because you can tell your story. That's what I would do. And in the about section, I would do that as well. I would try to think about what is compelling, what makes you different from the next person. That's it. All right. If you don't want to do that, no big deal. Do I have time to help people one-on-one? I can do my best. My bandwidth is a little bit tight, y'all. I just got to be honest with you. It is super tight, but I'm the only Ryan Zervakis on LinkedIn. So if you want to message me, I'll do my best to help you out for sure. Okay.
Also, you can come to the Career Center.
Yes.
We can help you edit. We're not going to write it for you, but we will edit it for you if you come into our drop-ins. We have drop-in hours. Check it out on our website, and you can come in and we'll help you edit. If you really need help writing, you can go to the Learning Resource Center in the library, so they can help you write as well.
I also recommend ChatGPT, y'all, for sure, for sure. All right, everybody, I have to drop. Thank you so much, Jan. I appreciate the invite.
You're welcome. I just want to send our thanks to Ryan. Like I said, he's an expert, and every time I love hearing you speak because every time you've got lots of new things to share with us and different profiles, and I learned so much. And so folks, so you know, this is going to be posted. We are live streaming it right now on YouTube, and it will be posted on the CSUN Career Center YouTube channel, so you can go back and watch it again, because Ryan shared so many. It's so rich what he shared, that you can go back and kind of watch the video and watch the sections that you think will really help you develop your profile and help you develop your about section and whatnot. So thank you, Ryan. We're going to let him go because he's a busy guy.
You're welcome, y'all. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.